Hey, welcome back! This week's video is a Wonder Woman cake and it's going to be decorated in two different styles. Let's get started. Firstly, you'll need a cake that's covered in a layer of frosting and some blue, red and yellow fondant. And depending on what style you want to make, you may also need some bronze and gold luster dust. To start, roll out the red fondant to about 1/2 centimeter. And so for the red fondant, I want this to cover the top and about half of the sides of the cake. So measure out a circle big enough to cover that. And then put it on top of the cake and smooth out with your hands. So as you can see, there are a couple of little bits that overlapped and don't look that good, but that's fine because they'll be covered. Next, roll out the blue fondant and try to roll this out to be more of like a rectangle shape, and this is for the sides of the cake. So the idea for this is that there'll be blue stripes going halfway up the cake and it's kind of going to resemble Diana's skirt. Measure how far off the cake you want the strips to be, and for mine it was about 8 centimeters, though you want to make it just a bit longer in case. And then cut a rectangle the height of the strips and then cut out the individual strips. And they don't all have to be the same width, so have different variations in size. And then cut the bottoms off at different angles. Again, this can be random. I had some straight and some angled and some pointed. Then attach them to the cake by lining them up where you want them to finish at the bottom of the cake, and then press them down and cut off any excess at the top. And you may need to brush a little bit of water to attach the fondant to the top. Do this to all the strips until you're happy with how it looks. And then roll out the yellow fondant, and this is for the W, and to be honest I just kind of winged it and cut it out freehand, though as you can see I did use a little template, so if you're worried you can just Google Wonder Woman logo and print off one that you like and then just trace it out. So just finish cutting out the W until you're happy with it, and then keep the leftover yellow fondant because we'll use that later. Then I mixed a bit of water with some brown food dye and brushed it over the symbol just to kind of emphasize the lines. Then brush a little water onto the bottom of the logo and place it on top. Then brush some of that water around the edge of the blue and red fondant, and then take the leftover yellow fondant and roll it into a rope and place this around the cake. And so you can either leave it like this to look sort of like bright and colourful like the original Wonder Woman, or you can keep going and make it kind of like darker and sort of like armour looking like the new one. So if you want to keep going, the first thing I did was cut little indents into the blue strips because I wanted this to look like her skirt and sort of like it had been through lots of battles and kind of like worn in and stuff. And then I brushed some of that water dye mix from before over just so that the bronze luster dust would stick to it. And firstly I put the bronze dust on the W, but this was actually a big mistake and just don't do this. It didn't look very good and it just kind of looked meh, I guess. But yeah, do brush it over the blue and the red and it'll look really good. So to fix the yellow bit, I went out and bought some yellow and gold luster dust, and I mixed the yellow dust with a little bit of vodka and brushed it on, though if you don't want to use alcohol you can use lemon juice instead. And I put one coat on and left it for about half an hour to dry, and then added a second coat. And lastly, once the second coat was dry, I took a clean dry brush and brushed over the gold luster dust just so it would look shimmery. Though if I hadn't put the bronze on the W earlier, I could have just skipped the yellow one and just put gold on top, but I needed to like revive the yellow look, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the final look. It finally turned out well in the end after a bit of mucking about, and I don't know which one I prefer better. I think I like the bright one. It kind of just looks quite vibrant, but this does look similar to the movie, so I don't know. What do you think? Please leave a comment on what one you thought looked better and just any suggestions of cakes you'd like to see. Yeah, thank you for watching, and if you're not already subscribed, please do that, and I'll see you next week.